Hold on. Good evening, Drew.
Happy iPhone Eve, Paul.
Maybe for some of us. That's what Skype didn't actually ring. That's why I'm all off. The stuff popped up. I didn't hear the normal do do do, and I thought I had done something wrong. But
That's
everything looks fine. Yeah, everything looks fine. I'm recording. Okay. Yeah, we're good. Yeah, happy iPhone Eve for maybe one of us.
Well, hold on. You tweeted me a MagSafe thing.
Okay.
Well, no. Okay. You tweeted me some adapters.
Yes, I did. I am now the proud owner of 2 official Apple branded, not really Apple branded, 20-watt USB-C adapters. You can hear
that's the noise. You're banging them together.
I am.
That's not how you charge things.
No. That's the sound you make when you bang 2 USB adapters together.
Okay. Well, hold on. That's a title. So you're saying, well, listen, I am getting a phone tomorrow.
I'm very excited for you.
And you're not. I
am. So I did make a purchase, but I did not make a purchase when they were first available for sale. I did not make up my mind until Sunday.
Interesting.
And that is when I made my purchase. So I do not get them tomorrow. I get mine like the first week of November.
Are you having it shipped to your house?
Yes.
So I feel like if I had it shipped to my house, it would not be arriving tomorrow. I'm actually going to the Apple store in the morning.
Okay.
I feel like for whatever reason, shipping would have... when I was placing my order, shipping was going to take longer, and impulsive person that I am, I didn't want to wait. So I'm actually going to an Apple store tomorrow morning to get it.
Okay.
So what'd you go with?
So I was uncertain what I was going to do after our call yesterday. I'll call that not yesterday, last week. And I spent the evening kind of looking at the amount of money that I'm currently paying for phones and for AT&T. And I'm like, well, shit, I'm paying a lot of money for phones. I shouldn't do anything. I don't know. And then I thought about the Mini, and I was just really indecisive. And then that Friday morning, I had to deal with some work stuff first thing in the morning. So I really wasn't even really available, quote unquote, to make a purchase. But I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm just going to think about it. So Sunday hit, and I went on to AT&T.com, and I made, you know what? Let's look and see if I can lower my bill. So I managed to lower my my plan by something like $30 a month. Mm-hmm. Then I just ended up paying off the remaining amount on my daughter's phone, so I'm no longer making payments on that. So then I figured, okay, I've lowered my bill enough. So I purchased a 128 gigabyte blue iPhone 12.
Not Pro.
Not Pro.
Interesting.
I did not. I really wanted the blue. I did not need the extra cameras, and I personally just liked the look of the regular blue 12 better. Now that I've seen some reviews and seen some pictures, I feel more confident in my decision. I think that the stainless steel bands that they put on the Pros are fingerprint magnets, and I don't think they look very good. So I'm very happy with the aluminum band on the regular 12, and I'm very happy. Yeah.
Yeah, I got a Pro.
Okay.
I have never owned a Pro iPhone. I've always owned, I have an iPhone 10 right now, and I have never owned any of the Pro models.
Okay.
And again, I was really sort of torn on the direction that I wanted to take the color. However, the more and more reviews that I see and watch, online, that blue is just a little too bright for me. I think I like kind of the more teal color of the other one.
It matches my brand new blue Apple Watch. So
then you obviously made a very wise decision.
Mm-hmm. No, I of all of the ones I've looked, I think it's the blue iPhone 12, and then everything else is distant. I don't think there's anything even remotely close. But that's just me. Obviously, and that's the one I got. But what color did you get? What color did you get? Did you go gold?
No.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely
black?
not.
Black?
No.
Blue? Blue. Okay. See,
Yeah.
I do not like the look of that blue. I just don't like it. Ugh. But I'm happy you got a phone. I'm happy. I'm glad you splurged. I'm glad you splurged.
Yeah. And like what's interesting is like every kind of review I look, the blues just look different. I think everybody's color balance is just completely off in all the pictures they take of these new phones. So I don't know what this is going to end up looking like when I get it in my hands. I'm sure I won't be disappointed, but I'm excited. I'm gonna go pick it up tomorrow morning, and I will let you know because tomorrow we have D&D.
Yes. So accessories. What did you MagSafe accessories? Cases, chargers.
I got the clear case.
Adapters?
That's it. No adapters that I can bang together.
Okay.
Well, I'll save it for my next topic. But no, I ordered 2 accessories. I ordered the clear case to kind of show off the blue because none of the cases would really kind of show off the edges and the blue kind of the way I wanted it to. So I went with the clear case. It arrived Monday when I placed it when I placed the order Friday morning. I also ordered one of the wallet attachments, but that won't be here till November.
Okay. So I ordered the phone. I also ordered the clear case, which if it is slippery at all, will go right the hell back. That's not.
It is not.
That good. Because the one they came out originally for the 11s was like a bar soap.
Nope.
It was like the. So I'm very glad that you're hearing it's not slippery. That won't come for like 2 weeks after my phone gets here, so I think I'm going to rock cases for a bit. Logistics, I don't pretend to understand.
Well, I had a moment of panic because when I placed so here was my ordering experience, and it was not pleasant. For reasons I had to get into, I will get into here shortly. I had last Friday off, and my goal was to get up early, do iPhone things, and then carry on with my day. The website was completely unresponsive for me. I was getting gateway timeouts and everything, and a friend of the show, Brent Ozar, he suggested that I use the phone app to buy things, and it was flawless.
Yeah.
Like, everybody else was on the web, I was on my phone, and I was done. And it worked.
Yeah.
It worked beautifully.
Before. Yeah.
It worked beautifully because all my payment information is saved on my phone. It integrates with the Apple app, and I was just like, "Here's your order. Go pick it up next Friday." And it was seamless. It's interesting. It's going to take that while for the case to get to you.
Yeah. So did you order any of the MagSafe chargers?
I did not.
Okay. All right. So I ordered one of those as well. And hold on, let me pull up my information. So, and then I also ordered a couple of adapters because I needed one and I wanted one from a MagSafe. I'm going to keep doing that.
Yeah.
That's good audio. So my phone comes between November 2nd and November 4th. And the MagSafe charger and case is November 4th to November 11th. So, yeah, so I'm going to be curious to see how you feel the wallet is. Because I've read some reviews and I watched some stuff. I just want to point out I was correct. It holds 3 cards.
I know.
3 cards.
I also, I think, probably watched the same review. I'm not really happy about it.
Yeah.
Because I need more than 3 cards. I need more than 3 cards.
And, like, it doesn't look like it stays on very well. It's 3 cards. It's 3 cards. Well, they said an ID and credit cards. So that means 2. That was 3. So I was, I called it.
Okay.
And it looks like it doesn't stay on very well.
So that is something I have read in the reviews that say that these magnets are not especially powerful. They will hold things to your phone, but, I guess if you're going to be pulling, like, huge G's, like, running down a hallway or something, like, some stuff could go flying.
Yeah, and, like, not to, like, I've started listening to this week's Accidental Tech podcasts, and Marco Arment covers this, but I was thinking the same thing. It's like, the magnet forces are usually only one direction. So just because that it's held tightly to the phone doesn't mean that it won't slide back and forth easy because
Right.
that's not how magnets work.
Right.
So yeah, I guess.
And but speaking of the MagSafe stuff, I did have a moment of panic shortly after I placed my order for all my stuff because I didn't realize that the iPhone 12 clear case is the same case for the iPhone 12 Pro.
Yeah, yep. They were the same size this year, which is
Yeah.
usually not, or at least
No.
wasn't for the 11. Yeah.
I wasn't prepared for that. I was thinking I was going to have to send it back and go caseless until I got that, but no, apparently it's the same size.
Yeah. Now, ask me. I'm going to ask one question. Does the clear case have a lip on the bottom?
A lip on the bottom.
Right. So, looks like it doesn't, but I'm going to make sure. So the notion
You mean like where the speaker holes and the charger are?
yeah. So if when you swipe up from the bottom, is your thumb hit case?
No.
Or is there a little cut? Yes.
It's cut out. The top has the lip, right? And as I understand it, it's designed to be flush with the surface of the phone. So
Yeah.
even if there was a lip there, you wouldn't interfere with it. But no, the bottom of the phone, the case has like a small cutout along the
Yeah.
bottom. So there's holes there's room for the speakers to breathe and then the charger.
I'm here for this because I don't like the feeling of my thumb scraping across a phone case when I'm swiping up to like go home or bring up like fast app switching. So I am very glad to hear that there is no lip on the bottom. That makes me very excited.
Yep, you will be, I think, pretty pleased with the clear case.
Okay.
It's been hard to look at it all week when I don't have a phone to put in it. I'm not gonna lie.
All right, we need to move on because we have a big juicy topic.
Oh yeah, hold on. But the doc kind of lies because that's not gonna take that long.
Oh, I bet it will.
But before we get there, though, more follow-up from rodent situations in my house. We discovered another dead mouse in our house in another trap.
Oh no.
Which we weren't ready for this at all because we had not seen any little mousy poops. We haven't seen any evidence of another mouse in the house. But this morning, my lady friend, she had a delay at her school district because it's Ohio in October and the weather doesn't know what it's doing. So it was like exceptionally foggy this morning.
Yes, it was.
Like there's been days where she's had a fog delay and I'm like, really? But this morning you could not see outside. It was like our house was in a cloud. And I was like, I get it. You're ripping sick cotton out here, but like it was really bad. And she had a 2-hour delay, and I saw her go into the bathroom, and I looked at the time, and I'm like, this doesn't add up. And she came out of the bathroom, and she said, by the way, I found another mouse in the cupboard. And the cupboard is not where we killed our last mouse. This mouse died in the cupboard. The previous mouse died under the sink. But she's a trooper. She picked that thing right up with that clip, and she dropped it right in the trash can. We took the trash out.
Wow.
And I did not expect to see another one. We thought that we had caught the culprit, but nope. Turns out there's another mouse. At this point, I really don't know how many there are. Now I feel like I'm going to have to leave them in the trap so I can set an example to the others.
Like a head on a pike.
Yeah, exactly. It's a form of warding. Yeah, that was like about the excitement of my day. But boy, oh boy, do we want to talk about my car purchase? Because I think we're ready to talk about it.
Yeah, I was very surprised when I opened this up the other day and I saw just a massive, like, just huge splatter of content.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure that I threw everything in here that I sort of want to talk about. So let's cut right to the chase. Okay. And I know that if you've been listening to this podcast for a while, and I mean, really, why would you be? I was sort of toying with the idea of trading in my car and buying a different car that would facilitate me not having a car payment.
Okay. So much so that you ordered a car custom built that was shipped on a boat.
Well, I did.
Okay.
I did. But when I first started looking at cars, I sort of started with a very much cheaper car. Not by any means a cheap car, but a much cheaper car than I had in looking at Honda Accords.
Well, that's a big swing for you.
Big swing, right? Because if anybody knows me, knows that I have owned luxury vehicles or luxury sport cars, not like super expensive ones, but decently priced German foreign sports cars. I looked at Honda Accords, and again, the conceit here was that with the equity I had in my previous car, which was a Mercedes, I could have just traded that in and walked out with a Honda for probably not any money changing hands, or very, very minimal changing of money in any hands. And I looked at them and I drove them, and they're perfect. I mean, the Accord is just a great car, and I would have been perfectly happy with it. It doesn't have the 360 whatever horsepower that my Mercedes had, but it was enough. And I first kind of came into this thinking, my first priority was to get out from my excessively high car payment, which was high. It wasn't like cripplingly high, but it was high. And I really wanted to get out from underneath that. So, that's kind of where I started. And I also looked at Subarus, and I looked at a couple other things, and I even got so far as borrowing a Lexus from a dealership for a weekend. And, of all those cars I drove, yes, I could have probably walked out of there net zero. The Lexus would have cost me some money, but to not have a car payment. But, I kind of drove all those things, and none of them were really doing it for me. And I thought to myself, I'm not going to be happy unless I get another powerful sports car.
Okay.
That was until I went and drove the 2020 BMW 3 Series.
Okay.
So I was sort of just looking around. I popped into a dealership. I had been watching a lot of car reviews for the 2020 model year, and the BMW 3 Series was redesigned in 2019. The previous models leading up to 2019 had garnered a lot of scorn from the car community. Just with some interesting design choices, the technology was lagging behind other car manufacturers in that segment, like Audi and Mercedes to some extent. And it wasn't on my radar initially, but when they redesigned the car, it got really, really good reviews. BMW really tweaked the interior, they tweaked the exterior just enough, and they offered a lot of different trim lines and options that really made it a good car. So much, in fact, that kind of the three best non-electric cars you can buy in that segment right now, in some order, depending on who you ask, are the BMW 3 Series, the Mercedes C-Class, and the Genesis G70, I think it's called. I didn't drive one of those because I just didn't like the look of them. So anyway, I test drove a couple 3 Series, and when I decided that was the car I wanted to get, it was right in that weird limbo time between where dealerships were no longer getting 2020s and 2021s were on their way. So a lot of dealers were motivated to sell 2020s. I would have been perfectly fine with a 2020 because there really weren't any differences between the 20s and the 21s. Literally no difference, no visual cues, no extra tech, there's nothing different between them. Okay. But I went to a couple dealerships around here. There's one dealership that's near me that I'm not gonna even mention by name because I don't even want to give them a plug because they're terrible. But all of these dealerships could not find me a car that had all the options I wanted. And when I ordered my Mercedes last time, I was really spoiled because I was able to place a custom order for that car, and it had literally every single option I wanted on it. And it was built in Alabama. Like the frame and the engine and some of the things were assembled elsewhere, but the final assembly of the car where they put in all the options and actually bolt everything together happened in Alabama. So there wasn't a long time between me placing the order for that Mercedes and it showing up in Ohio. I think it was 3 weeks. It was not a very long time. So I placed an order for a 2021 BMW 330iX, which is the X-Drive version.
Okay.
It is a 4-cylinder car, which is 2 cylinders less than my Mercedes has. I I was worried that I was going to miss the power. So far, I have not, because this car is super engaging to drive. It has very responsive steering, and when I put my foot down, it just zooms past 60 just as fast as my Mercedes did, if nice. Right around the same amount of time, because it has so much torque for a 4-cylinder, and it's just very economical. You know, the drama of ordering this, though, was probably the most frustrating part, because I ordered this car in August and it just showed up last week. And we live in interesting times. I get it, right? Like every timeline is busted. But I was really having a hard time getting any information from the dealer that I ordered this car from, which was in Cleveland. I actually ordered this from a dealer in Cleveland.
That's not close. Yeah.
For reasons I previously stated. Like that is how badly I do not want to do business with this local dealership. So I ordered this car from a dealership in Cleveland. Now, every 10 days or so, like not every week, but every 10 days or so, I would send an email to my dude, to my sales boy, and I would say, hey, you know where my car is? And he would say, let me check with my inventory specialist. And then 10 days would go by, and I would say, hey, do you know where my car is? Let me check with my inventory specialist. Eventually, the car... okay, so here's how this works. Let me back up a second. So the way this works is, when you want to order a car to spec, you go on the BMW website, and you sort of use the build it now thing that car websites have, and you build the car the way you want it. When you get to the end, you get what's called a build code, which is some weird identifier that basically tells the dealer like what options you selected, right? Everything from the wheels to the color to everything. So you give them that build code, they go into their computers, and dealers have allocations for cars that are going to be built. And a lot of times dealers just order cars with options that they think are going to help cars sell volume. Or in the case of like really rare cars, like really like super high performing cars like an M or an AMG from Mercedes or whatever, they throw every option available on it because that's how they make their money, and they're never going to cut the price on those cars. So when they take the build code, they use one of their previously allocated cars that is in queue to be built, and that becomes your car. And I watched, there's actually some good YouTube videos. I need to put some in the show notes. YouTube, let me just make a note here. YouTube video assembly line. You can actually watch some of the assembly lines that build these cars, and there's like steps in the process where they're stroking the car to make sure that all the lines are straight. And anyway, I'm off topic.
Is it erotic?
Yeah, this is good content. Anyway, so that's what happened. And after you do that and they submit it, you basically get a login for BMW's website. And once the order is placed, the dealer gives you the code to sort of track your car. So from the whole time that this car was being built, there was like a progress bar on my account on the BMW website that sort of shows the steps that it's going through to be built. And as it starts to come together, more information shows up about the car. Like once the frame was assembled, it got assigned a VIN number. Once like the computer was in it, I was able to see what the what the serial number of different things were going to be that tie into the different tech that I'm going to talk about, right? And then everything was sort of like progressing at a pretty good clip. Like it was in the production queue for a while, but once it went from in queue to being built and assembled, it went really fast through the whole process until it got to the in-transit portion. And it was at that point my sales boy was able to figure out what boat it was on. And it just became me watching this boat sort of like crawl up the Atlantic coast until it got to the port. And then it got to the port and no one knew what the status of it was. It actually went backwards on the progress bar. It went from in transit to at the port, but the description of that step is your car is at the port and will be loaded on a boat soon. So I panicked and I'm like, hey, I don't think this is right. And they're like, we don't know where your car is. And I just got so mad. I was like, screw it. So my goal last Friday was I was going to go buy a car.
Right. Okay.
I had no idea where my BMW that I had custom ordered was. And by the way, at that point, I was only out of pocket $500. I had to give a $500 deposit for them to secure it in their build queue. Now, I could have walked away and I would have got my $500 back, but that was like me showing that, yes, I want this car. So on last Friday, or actually leading up to last Friday, I saw that down in Cincinnati, there was a blue BMW that had almost everything I wanted and a couple things I didn't. But I was like, you know what? I'm going to go see it because it's a really pretty blue. It has the interior color I wanted. And like I said, almost every other option I wanted. So what I did is after I did Apple stuff, I hopped in my car and I drove from my house to Cincinnati, about an hour and 45-minute drive to where the dealership was.
Yep.
So, you know, the guy that I spoke to, and I'd spoken to him before when I was originally looking at BMWs, nice guy. He had the car all ready for me. We took it for a test drive. I got to kind of explore it a little bit more and play with the tech, which I'll talk more about in a little bit. And it was really cool. And like we were just starting to get down to brass tacks. I was like, you know what? I like this car. I'll buy this car. We were just getting ready to get down to brass tacks. And sure enough, my phone rings. It's my dealer in Cleveland. Hey, your car's here.
Oh.
So I sort of excused myself from that dealer. And I was like, okay, I'm on my way. Get the car ready. So I hopped in my car. I drove from Cincy to Cleveland.
That's a haul. Okay.
Yep. So
literally across the state.
Literally across the state diagonally, by the way, like as one would measure a TV. That's how I drove across Ohio. I got to the dealership in Cleveland, saw the car, was happy I waited because it did have every option I wanted. It was the color I wanted. It had the wheels I wanted. It did not have some of the M Sport stuff that I wasn't super sold on. Took it for a quick drive around the parking lot. Realized that, yeah, I want this. And we went from there, and then I drove home that night. So I did about, let's see, from Columbus to Cincy was about 2 hours. It was about 4 hours from Cincy to Cleveland. And then 2 hours home. So I did about 8 hours of driving on that Friday to go get my car.
That's a lot of driving.
It was a lot of driving.
But you got the car you ordered, so it's your car.
I got the car I ordered, and it's really nice. It's very comfortable. It's very quiet.
What color?
Dark gray.
Okay.
I will. Let me send you a picture actually, because if you want to make this show art, I don't care. Where is this picture? How do I even use my iPhone anymore?
How to iPhone?
Yeah, I mean, I am getting a new one. You would think I would know this.
Yeah, I mean, your old one's practically garbage by now. So I mean,
I've already backed it up. I'm ready to not use it anymore. So this is a shot of it from the inside of the dealership, and then this is a shot of it outside after I was getting ready to leave. I don't have a shot of the front, which I should probably get.
Very nice. Very nice.
Yeah. So it's really good. And like I said, I traded in my Mercedes, had a really decent chunk of equity in that. And my goal, so if you're a car salesman and you're listening to this, you're probably going to laugh at me. But, I negotiated the price down because this wasn't like trying to buy my Mercedes AMG, because this is a 3 Series. They sell these on volume, right? Like you have a better chance to get a knockoff of this price than anything else. And I did not pay our MSRP. But once we agreed on a price and a price for the trade-in and everything, I said to the finance guy, I was like, I want to walk out of here with a title. And he said, okay, if you want to do that, here's the size of the check you need to write me. And it was more than the difference of my trade-in plus what the price of the car was. And I said, what gives? And he said, some of the discounts we're giving you are predicated on the fact that you're going to finance the car.
Oh.
And I was like, well, hold on. Why don't we not do that? And you just knock more price off the car, and I'll write you this check, and we can shake hands and be done. And he's like, I can't. And I was like, I drove all the way up here from Cincinnati, and I live in Columbus. So we're going to do this or I'm not coming back. And he sort of looked at me and he's like, look, here's the deal. I can give you all these discounts because you're a first-time BMW owner, and these rebates aren't rebates from us; they're rebates from BMW. I don't know how much of that is bullshit or not, and I don't even want to dwell on it. But basically, here was the deal: I did not walk out of there with a title. I financed the minimum amount that I could to qualify for those rebates. So my car payment is, let me do math, is $520 less than what it was. And I'm financing the minimum finance amount over 60 months. The trick is that I wrote them a check, and I will write another much smaller check in February when I'm eligible to pay off the balance.
Got it.
So yeah,
that makes sense. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So did I really save the total amount of the rebates because I have to finance for 4 months? Maybe, maybe not. But in the meantime, my car payment is pretty much non-existent. Let's just put it that way. And in February, when I get to that payment where I'm eligible to pay off, because there's not a prepayment penalty, but you have to make at least 4 payments before you can pay it off. I don't understand why, and it's one of those things that I don't want to think about it too much or I'll probably get really mad.
It's probably so the bank can make a minimum amount of money on the interest and consider that it's a success. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm thinking that's probably why.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, so the car itself. So this, like I said, it is a 2021 BMW 3 Series. It is a 2021 BMW 3 Series 330i. It is not the 340i, which is the big 3-cylinder, which is essentially like an M3 at this point. Okay. In terms of options, so I want to talk a little bit about some of the things that I absolutely love about this car. First and foremost, I, Drew Ferguel, Apple crazy person, finally have CarPlay.
Congratulations.
Yeah, and I love it so much. I love it so much. Like, and I think I may have told this story on the air before, but when I bought my Mercedes, it was a choice of whether or not you got CarPlay in your car. And the choice was this. You could have the larger multimedia screen and BMW navigation, or the smaller screen with less resolution and CarPlay.
Not a good choice.
Not a good choice. And you know what? I look back on that now and I'm like, that was a poor choice. I could have saved $3,000 on that option and gotten CarPlay and not have had to deal with like really spotty connections to my iPhone, Bluetooth that sometimes I would turn the car on and it would just randomly play my music without me asking it to.
You're welcome.
Yeah, and it's so weird that that's one of the things that sort of drove me away from my Mercedes, as good of a car as that was. I really hated fighting with my phone. I really did. And the USB charger was not in like a good place in that car. And it was just those little things that I lived with for so long that I sort of just convinced myself that weren't big deals, but were kind of big deals. But I finally have CarPlay. The BMW has a superb, absolutely superb display. It is touchscreen. It is exceptionally high resolution, and Paul, most of all, it is very responsive.
Okay, nice.
When you swipe left or right in CarPlay, like there's not any noticeable lag. It's a very fluid and responsive system. And the display is just amazing, like really high resolution. I don't know what the actual resolution number on it is, but it's very crisp. It is just slightly angled to the driver.
Oh, that's a nice touch.
But only just. Yeah, only just. Right? Like if you're in the passenger seat, you could still clearly see it, but it's not like at a perpendicular angle. Like it is just slightly angled towards the driver. And, I have used it pretty much every time I've gotten into the car now. And the wonderful thing about this car is that it has wireless CarPlay.
Oh, I'm jealous.
I do not have to plug this phone in to have it use CarPlay. And tertiary adjacently to this is that it has a wireless Qi charging pad in the center console.
Yeah, that's what I want next.
So when I, like, right behind where my cup holders are, that's where my phone goes. I put it on that charger, and I don't have to hook any wires up to it, and I get CarPlay, I get my text messages, my phone messages, CarPlay, and every feature I want out of it. And it is just, it is just so good. It's so good. Now, having said that, I did have CarPlay crash twice on me on the way home from the dealer.
Oh, no.
But here's what I think had happened. My battery was pretty low in the phone. And one thing I have noticed about my iPhone X is I have the silicone case on it. And when I place it on a wireless charger, it gets toasty.
Ooh, okay.
It gets kind of warm. And when it was crashing, I was simultaneously using Apple Maps navigation. I was listening to a podcast, and I was attempting to use Siri to send a text message. And the phone was in the center console on the charger with the lid closed. So I'm just wondering if, like, my phone was, like, crying for help. Now, that has not happened since. I have not had it crash since, but
Okay.
I really haven't pushed it as hard, I guess you could say, to get it to do that. Now, continuing sort of like on the phone discussion, my car has USB ports, but Paul, they're USB-C ports.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
There is one legacy USB-A port, but my phone has a USB-C port charger in the center console, and it has two USB-C ports in the back seat.
Nice.
Yeah. Now, this is interesting, okay? Not only does my car fully integrate with the Apple ecosystem, there's two interesting things that I wasn't sure how it was going to work, but I can happily report that it works exactly the way I want it to. So the first is my car has a digital assistant, and I don't mean Siri.
Okay, what's her name?
I don't think.
Does she have a name?
First of all, I don't think they have a name. We're not going to be gender normative here. And secondly, you say, "Hey BMW."
Oh, okay.
So you hit the little microphone. It gives you a little bong. You say, "Hey BMW, set the temperature to 68 degrees," and that's what it does. Now, because I have Siri, now obviously Siri can't control the temperature in my car. But let's say I wanted to send a text message. I have a choice about how I can accomplish this. On my steering wheel is a little picture of a microphone. If I tap, like just quickly press the microphone, that goes to the BMW Assistant. And it can fully work with my smartphone outside of CarPlay. I can say, "Hey BMW, send a text message to," and if my contacts are imported, I could say, wife or Paul or whoever. And it would take my message and it would send it. Or if I long press the microphone, then it uses my phone's assistant. So Siri on the iPhone or Hey Google on an Android.
Nice. Okay.
And it's really interesting that they both kind of work together. Now, I obviously just tell Siri to do things because, I'm not an animal. But there have been times where I have just, fucking around, have told my car, like, set the temperature to this. Or it's even smart enough to say, you could say, "Hey BMW, I'm sleepy." And then it turns on the air full blast and turns on all the driver assist to make sure you don't fly off the road.
That's all right. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Right. There's all kinds of weird stuff you can say to it. Now, the other thing that I found was interesting, because if you watch reviews about the 2019 redesign of the 3 Series, this car now has the option of having a fully digital dash.
Okay.
No manual needles, no dials at all. And It's fantastic. It
Nice.
again, very, very, very responsive display. Like a higher refresh rate, doesn't lag or anything. Now, the display itself is slightly customizable. The default kind of layout of the digital dash is you get 2 dials sort of on the edge of the display, one for the tach and one for the speed. And in the middle is an overlay of satellite navigation.
Oh.
In kind of a 3D view. So as you're driving, you can see the road you're on and then the roads that are around you. If you program into the BMW navigation that you want to go somewhere, you have the option of either leaving that map up in the middle of the digital display or showing your turn sequence. I was wondering how this was going to work if I wasn't using the car's navigation and I was using Apple Maps to navigate. I'm happy to report that as long as you have some form of navigation turned on, you can use the center console of the digital display to still get turn-by-turn directions.
Nice.
Even if you're using Apple Maps.
That's excellent.
Yeah, it integrates very well. The other thing you can do is if you're playing media, again, either on the car itself or through CarPlay, you can have it show chapter information, chapter art, album art, what's currently playing, like overlaid on the display as well. It all just sort of works together. I don't know how, but it's glorious. Absolutely glorious.
Excellent.
Yeah, the tech is absolutely superb. I am over the moon with what this stuff has. And look, I know that some of the things I'm going to be talking about here are pretty common on cars today, but in the segment of cars that I was driving up until this point, they were either options that were gated behind really expensive packages or weren't available whenever I was doing this. Okay? Now, in terms of other things, there's one that I think you're going to laugh at me for.
Okay.
Let me see. I don't have a picture of my car. Let me pull up a picture here. I'm gonna send you this. How can I send this to you?
You have so many options.
I really do. Okay. This is perfect. Okay, so this this is a link to a forum for BMW owners that is showing off one of the features of the car, and I'm prepared for you to laugh your ass off.
I can't wait. All right.
Okay.
Okay.
Go there.
Okay. Up. Gotta wait for Google to decide it's a link. Come on. All right. I'm just gonna copy and paste it. All right.
So you'll scroll down a little bit.
Oh no. Oh no.
Paul, my car has blue LED lights.
A lot. I mean, yeah. So the pictures, it appears to be some sort of ambient lighting system.
Yes.
And it lights up. It looks like it lights up the door handle with a nice soft blue LED light. Mm-hmm. The cup holders, the pedals.
Okay. So if you scroll down to sort of the last picture in that post,
okay,
that sort of shows you the extent of it. So what it has is built into the dash and into the doors is a thin, translucent strip that lights up.
Oh,
and
okay.
And if you sort of see it, it's kind of accent lighting on the dash, and it's accent lighting on the doors. It also illuminates the footwells, and it illuminates the like kind of the side storage on either side of the passenger or the driver.
Yeah, okay.
In the back seat, there's also door illumination, much the same as that, and I think there's footwell illumination in the back. Now, I say this to you, and I'm glad that they showed this as an example, because blue is one of the colors you can set it to.
Okay, I was going to say, if there's multiple colors, I'm on board with this. If it's blue, I'm out.
So I can either do orange or gold, which there is a difference. One is more yellow, and one matches closer to my interior, which is brown.
Well, orange is just brown that lies to you, so,
Orange is just brown that lies to you. I like that.
There's a video I should put in there about brown.
Okay. Yeah, please do.
All right.
I can also do blue, I can also do blue and white. Some of these colors combinations also have what they call blue and white, where the white is what shows up like on the doors and on the dash. So it's white on like the parts that actually you can see that light up, and then blue would be in all the illumination like that you don't see, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So there's orange, there's gold, there's blue, there's green, and there's lilac. And the lilac is awesome. The purple is awesome. Now, each of these combinations looks slightly different with my interior. So the picture you're looking at here, this is a black interior with like a silver headliner. My interior is, they call it cognac. It is a cognac. Oh, cognac. Yeah. And it is like more of a traditional like tan interior, which is really good. And I also have like maple like wood in there that is matte, so it doesn't show fingerprints. Oh, again, so good. So the gold and the yellow accent really nicely with my interior. And it knows if it's dark outside, because if you were to turn this on full blast at night, it would be super distracting. But like during the day, it's a really nice accent that sort of just brings a little character to the inside of the car. That option kind of came standard with one of the packages that I got. I wasn't sure I was going to like it, and I did not anticipate loving it as much as I do. Nice. It just looks really cool. It just looks really cool. Oh, and it also has things where like if a door is open, it'll like flash red on that door. Like it kind of integrates with the alerting system of the car, right? If things are like not good. So it'll change colors based on like if things are happening. And if I really wanted to, I could like reprogram them to be basically any color I want. It requires like a Bluetooth module and reprogramming something. I just really can't be bothered. But
yeah.
So that's the ambient lighting. Let's see, what else does it have that I really, really enjoy? As far as tech goes, I did splurge for the upgraded sound system on the car. It sounds really, really good. This car is way easier to get in and out of than my Mercedes because it doesn't sit, the seats don't sit as low, and they're not sport bucket seats, so it's just really easier to get in and out of because you sort of had to like stoop down a little bit and get into my car before. Now you just get into my car like a normal person. The seats are really, really comfortable. There's way more room in the back seat now. The trunk is enormous. It's way bigger than my Mercedes was, and my Mercedes had a pretty decent trunk. The power is pretty good. I mean, again, it's not 360 horsepower like my Mercedes was, but it has a lot of torque. It has almost 300 torques. But only like 200 and I don't know. I want to say it's either 255 or 265. I forget, like horsepower. But it's plenty for tooling around Dublin or merging on the highway. It's way more than enough. And like when I was driving back from Cleveland and having to fight traffic on 71, like you just put your foot down and it just pounces. It's pretty good. But all that said, it has really, really good gas mileage because it's a 4-cylinder versus my 6-cylinder now. The one thing that I paid, I think probably the most expensive option that I did get on my car is on my Mercedes. I had the surround view camera that sort of showed everything around it. I really am sort of married to that option on any car I buy for the rest of my life. So I got that on this car. It is a much better system, and better in the sense that I can sort of pan around my car using my touchscreen.
Oh, that's neat.
Yep, and not only that, but my BMW connected app, at any time I can request a surround view like picture of my car. So it will actually turn on the cameras, take a picture, and then send me like basically a panoramic shot that I can pan around to see like who's parked around my car. I'm sure there's all kinds of privacy concerns there, but yeah, it's pretty freaky. That's the other thing too. The app is much better done than my Mercedes app. The one thing I did not love about my Mercedes is the app allowed you to remote start the car. The problem is when you started the car, You couldn't. The minute you opened the door, the engine would shut off.
Okay.
And then you'd have to start the car again. This, you get in the car when the engine's running from the remote start, and you just, as long as you hit the start button, it just keeps running and you're fine and you can just drive away. Yep. And like when I do the remote start, it knows kind of what the outside temperature is, and it'll precondition, right? Whatever my interior temperature was set at, it will try to adjust it to that temperature. It will turn on the heated steering wheel, which I never had a heated steering wheel before. It's lovely.
I'm not sure how I feel about that. I have sweaty hands, so.
Yeah, I kind of do too, but it is pretty nice. And boy, it heats up like real fast. It just feels like someone spilled coffee on something and they've already cleaned it up, but it's still warm. I don't know. It's hard to kind of explain. Anyway, yeah, let's see. There's included maintenance on BMW. Mercedes used to do this. They don't do it anymore, but BMW does now, where like my first, I don't know how, 30,000 miles worth of maintenance is free, which is pretty nice.
Yeah.
Because, again, that was another reason I was sort of looking to get out of the Mercedes, is that car was getting really expensive to maintain. And that car, the car I traded in, only had a 4-year warranty. So I was on the last year of my warranty, and it scared me a little bit.
Right, yeah.
Because that's the thing about Mercedes and BMW and Audi is, man, if you don't have a warranty, you're going to pay through the nose to get those things fixed.
Yeah, that is what I have heard.
Yep. The other sort of unintentional nice thing about this is my insurance payment basically got cut in half.
Nice.
I asked my agent if it was because I wasn't driving an AMG badged Mercedes anymore. But he basically told me no. It's just that Erie is doing things now because nobody's driving as much, is that the rates are much lower. So it's one of those things that if I hadn't called him and said, hey, I got a new car, I'm sure he wouldn't have adjusted my rate. You know what I mean?
No, they wouldn't. No.
Right. Let's see. What else do I really like about it? Auto locking. What's nice is that I never have to take my key out of my pocket at all. If I have my key in my pocket, I get out of my car and walk away from it, it locks. I can also do the opposite. However, because I live in a tiny house, my key is always near my car, so the car would constantly be unlocking and locking. So I turned that feature off. I asked the dealer about that, and they said, yeah, you'll drain your battery. So I have that feature turned off.
Okay.
Rain sensing wipers. In all the luxury cars that I've owned, I've never had that. That's a really nice surprise. I like that. Automatic high beams that adjust to the ambient. Again, have never had that before. That took a little getting used to as well. But yeah, I mean, it's just a really nice, comfortable car. As I get older, I care a lot less about the horsepower and more about the quality of the interior and how it drives and how it rides and if it's a pleasant place to be. And, you know, my Mercedes was a pleasant place to be. It's just that the tech was infuriating. I got really bored of the tech in that car. And I'm sure a day will come with whatever new advancements come in automotive technology that I'll get bored of this car too. But I really wanted to get into a car with CarPlay. I really wanted to not have a car payment. I still wanted a quote-unquote nice car. I would argue that if you have the means to buy any new car is a nice car. Like, I'm not here to like be an elitist about it, but I did want to get a luxury sedan. I did also want a sedan. I like having 4 doors for when people are around. I mean, not that I have a ton of friends, but it's nice to be able to drive them places. And yeah, it's just great. And, you know, if I play the long game about this, not having a car payment means I could either get a bigger house or I could start saving money for the car I really want and have a third car one of these days, right?
Oh, okay.
Right. So I'm sort of establishing myself for the future with this purchase. Yes, I did have to write a check, but you know, I had some savings. I really wasn't doing anything with it, and it just kind of made sense for me. And again, I know that I'm exceptionally privileged in that manner, because I know there's a lot of people that can't do that, but I could and I wanted to, and I'm glad that I did. In terms of things that I'm still not kind of sure about this car. Cars these days are really, really trying to protect you from yourself. In my car, I have a set of safety features that I'm not particularly fond of. The first is the lane departure system.
Yeah, my wife's car has this, and I'm finding it a little interesting to get used to. Yeah.
Okay, so tell me how hers works.
So, yeah, obviously it's scanning the road looking for, lines. And if you don't have the turn signal on, if you get too close to one of those lines, like you get like a little beep, and like the steering wheel doesn't move, but you get like a little like jolt in the hands.
Okay.
As to say, hey, dumbass, you're getting too close to the road. Okay, but if you have turn signal on, obviously it turns it off, and you're all good.
Yep.
Yep.
So that is what mine does. Except it shakes the steering wheel violently.
I'd have to turn that off. Yeah.
Yeah. So okay, now here's the shitty part about this. Now cars these days, most of them have auto start-stop engines, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and I think it is a law that there is no way to have that to default to off. Every time you start the car, that option is on. Yeah. You have to turn it off every time, which I discovered that in my last car, and it's annoying. In this particular car, right in the middle of the console, like where the air vents are, there are two buttons. One is the hazards, and one is this little picture of a car that has a green circle around it. That button is your safety features. When you press that button, that immediately takes you to the safety settings of your car, where you have fatigue assist, lane departure assist, blind spot monitoring, like all those features, right? The lane departure assist has some settings. You can tell it that you don't want lane departure on at all. You can tell it that you want it to be a little less aggressive with it. You can set the speed limit up until I think 40 miles an hour, where it will ignore lane departure. And like you said, if you use your turn signal, it sort of just says, oh, he obviously wants to change lanes. We're not going to look at those lines. But the steering wheel vibration really sort of scares me a little bit, because it honestly feels like the steering wheel is fighting me. Now I can change the settings of that vibration, but even on the lightest setting, it's very unnerving to me. And maybe it's something I'll get used to over time, but it's very unnerving. Now, here's the really crappy part. If I turn lane departure off, or I turn the steering wheel vibration off, that little green comforting circle turns orange.
Oh,
to remind you,
oh no, you're not safe.
Yeah, to remind you that you're a bad boy, and you should make this green. You shouldn't make this orange.
Oh, so it's shame. Oh.
Yeah, it's a shame button. The other thing I don't like is now Sirius Satellite Radio thinks I have a sixth radio, and I get 6 emails every time there's a promotion. That's not a joke. I've asked them multiple times to take me, like, do it count distinct, please. Just don't email me 6 times thinking I have 6 radios and you're going to get 6 subscriptions out of me. Please stop. Sirius, if you're listening to this, first of all, stop emailing me. Second of all, you're banned. Don't listen to this podcast anymore.
Sirius XM, I'm still a subscriber, so you can listen to at least my segments.
Okay.
I love Liquid Metal. Thank you, Sirius XM.
Okay. I don't hate it. I just don't like that after my trials expire, like they work really hard at trying to get me back.
Yeah.
And I don't like that this car doesn't have a driver's side seat memory setting. That's one thing my previous car had. So like when friend of the show Matt Keller gets in the car and the seats go all the way back, and then later that week my wife gets in the car and it feels like she's in the back seat. All she had to do was hit a button and everything was back to normal. But now she has to adjust her seat every time.
Like an animal.
Yeah, I mean, really, this is how the other half lives.
You should send it back. I mean, that's not...
Right. This won't do.
This won't do.
Yeah. Yeah, and part of me wonders if I shouldn't have got the sport package on this car, because it would have been slightly lowered by just a couple millimeters, which... I don't know. I'm over that. I put that on the list initially, but I don't care anymore. Wow. Wow, that was a lot. That was a lot of Drew talking.
I was here for all of it.
Yeah. So long story short, I'm impulsive. I'm not good at being patient. I did still get the car I wanted. I will miss my Mercedes. I took a picture of it sitting in the dealer parking lot with no more license plate on it, and I'm sure that picture will pop up on my new iPhone memory thing widget from time to time, and I'll look lovingly at it. It was a fantastic car. I liked it. I'll miss it. But I'm pretty happy. Pretty happy with my choice.
Good. Well, I'm happy you got a new car, and I'm glad you enjoy it.
Yeah. We're just going to go ahead and move this next topic to next week.
Okay. That's fine.
Did you research it?
A little bit. Only enough to make sure. I mean, I'm old and I haven't been a developer for a few years, but I get the gist. So yes,
right.
I can explain.
I need your help with that because that actually has like work implications for me.
Okay.
Okay, so just to circle back for a minute, you're not getting an iPhone Mini then?
I am not getting a Mini. I decided your advice, what you told me ringed in my ears, and I decided that no, I should get a full-sized phone. So it is the 12 in blue, not the Pro, just their plain old 12.
I bought
it outright. I bought it outright.
Well, so I did too. I bought mine outright as well, and I am nervous about the SIM swap tomorrow.
It should be fun. Everything I've read is it's really just a matter of popping out that SIM and your old stuff, putting it in, turning it on, and AT&T will have no idea that you have a new... Well, they probably have an idea, but they won't care.
Right. As far as like their records are concerned, they think I'm still paying for my iPhone 10.
Exactly.
Like 3 years later somehow.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep.
I had fantasies of us being iPhone bros tomorrow and getting breakfast.
I just... like I said, I wasn't sure on that Friday, and that particular Friday morning, I had to put out a fire, so I was busy anyway. And I briefly thought about it, and I saw stuff on Twitter, and I was just like, no, I don't know what I'm going to do. My AT&T bill is ridiculous right now. I don't want to buy a new phone and still be paying for 4 other phones, so I didn't do anything. And then Sunday, I kind of reduced my bill, and I felt good about things, and so I ordered it. So it'll come in November. November's a big month for me. I got lots of new stuff coming. So yeah, I have lots of stuff to talk about.
Nice.
In November.
Well, I mean, I'm here for it.
Oh, I suppose we should probably put a nice bow on this.
Yeah, I did a lot of talking, and I feel bad.
No, these are my favorite episodes when I get you talking about something you're passionate about. So. I mean, they're my favorite episodes. I don't care what everyone else thinks.
I
enjoy these. I enjoy these ones. Anywho, I'm sure they're doing their best. You can find us on the internet at doingtheirbest.com. You can find us on Twitter at doingbestpod. You can find me at Paul Baylor. That's Bahler. And where can we find you, Drew?
Yeah, I'm on Twitter at Pitferg, Pittfurg.
Woo. Thanks for listening, everybody.
See ya.